How about instead of bickering, we figure out our next move against the Speedster and his allies?
Legion of Doom has a sexual ring to it.
I'm not calling them that.
Is it smaller than a Quinjet?
That's classified. Yes, considerably.
It all started when we blew up the Time Pigs, the Time Masters. Now history's all screwed up, and it's up to us to unscrew it up. But half the time we screw things up even worse. So don't call us heroes, we're something else. We're legends. Who writes this crap anyway?
Is that a new one?
It's a new one. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Fandom Zone. Did you miss us? We've been gone a while.
Missed you. No, not that long.
Couple weeks.
It's a week.
Couple weeks.
Week and a half.
Yeah, so I'm looking at I look at our schedule, and there's like all kinds of like blue where we've skipped stuff.
I know.
So
but
things happen. Things happen.
There is stuff on hiatus.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. So if we're going to have that problem, it's a good thing we're having it now.
That's right.
So, but apologies to everybody. So we're back.
I had to make money.
Episode 113. Karen's got to get paid, yo.
That's right.
She's got to get paid.
I had a big client last week, and I was working real hard. There was no illness involved. I just had a huge client. I had to listen to a lot of Senate hearings, and I'm not joking about that. That's
so that right there, that was her punishment. She had to listen to those C-SPAN hearings.
That's exactly right. I had to listen to 4 different hearings, and
wasn't it like 14 hours?
Yeah, one of them was 50. One of them
was 14 hours?
One of them was.
Oh, my stars and garters.
That I had to pull clips from.
Yikes.
So.
All right.
And the episode's not completed yet. By the way, that podcast is called Congressional Dish, and it is nominated for a podcast award.
Awesome.
We do the editing for that podcast. So, yeah. Yay. She's great.
That's cool. So, to answer your question, yes, this is a new Funko figure.
Awesome.
It's the latest Flash from the Justice League movie.
He looks cool. I like all.
I was over at Best Buy, and they actually had one left, so I snagged him.
Iron Man Flash outfit, right?
So yep, had to get the Flash for my Flash collection. So yep, so now I got basically it's like Iron Flash because he's got armor on, which makes no sense for a speedster.
No, I know. But his little head-up display's name is Karen, which I think is cool.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I like it.
So that's Spidey's heads up.
Oh, Spider-Man. No, not
Spider.
Flash.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so from Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah, that was where I was telling you is like, yeah, you're gonna like Spider-Man Homecoming because of his artificial AI or artificial intelligence in his suit is named Karen.
I know.
Karen.
Yeah, I don't have that on
That's
here.
all right. So, okay, obviously you can tell it's been a while since we're doing this. So, week ending August 19th, 2017.
That's right. And
we scramble because yours truly is going off on vacation.
That's right.
So we're juggling like Karen's work schedule with my vacation schedule, and it's becoming this like apocalyptic nightmare. So.
And in October it'll happen again, but hopefully you'll get Phil or Jesse or someone to fill in for me.
Yes.
So, but now we have 2, 2, and 2.
Yes.
This week.
Yeah. So obviously we're going to play catch up again. So we've got 2 episodes of Wynonna Earp, episodes 9 and 10 of the second season. We have episodes 8 and 9 of Preacher's second season. And we have the first 2 episodes of The Defenders.
That's right.
From Netflix.
So excited.
So yes, as I pull
My
out the Daredevil and Iron Fist action, my Funkos here. So that's half the team right there.
My husband has already watched all of the Defenders, and I've watched about half of them, maybe a little more than that.
There's only 8 episodes, so that was an easy to binge watch. Lori and I have only watched these two that we're going to talk about. So you're obviously ahead of me, so I got to have to do something about that.
Oh, you should just go ahead and watch them all. I mean, the next one is amazing.
I would watch more tonight, but they've got the season premiere of *Halt and Catch Fire* tonight.
I know. I can't wait for that.
And it's a 2-hour premiere. So, yeah.
Very cool.
So I guess maybe tomorrow. All right, so let's dive right in because we got a lot to cover.
We do.
And not that much time because we're running a little behind because of technical difficulties.
Good audio.
Shakes fist at Skype.
That's right. So Wynonna's?
Yeah, Wynonna Earp, episode 9 of the second season, Forever Mine Nevermind. Written by Alexandra Zarowny and directed by Ron Murphy.
Alrighty.
So what's our A, B, and C, Karen?
A, B, and C. Gardener's tools, because the last name is Gardener's, and they are tools. B story, discomfort food.
Okay.
That was an interesting dinner they had, and it was a little uncomfortable, I think. And all tuckered out.
Yes.
I think Tucker's gone for good.
Well, let's hope so, because, he was a dick.
Right? He's been frozen.
Creepy. Yeah.
Burned again, jumped out a window. I mean, what else can happen to him? Shot.
Well, personally, I prefer, if he was pushed in front of a subway train and smushed.
Right. And his head was taken off, and we see it.
Or if we put his head in a microwave, and
it explodes.
It explodes. It goes all explodey.
Mm-hmm. That would be good.
All right, so Gardener's Tools. I'm guessing because, like you said, their last name is Gardeners, you're referring to the Widows?
Correct.
All right. So, so we have the Widows, who, I'm trying to remember this stage, because this was a while ago that I watched this episode.
Well, they're pretty much just behind the whole thing.
Yeah, so they're obviously looking for the last seal, which turns out to be Doc's ring.
Right, which Wynonna found out right at the end of the last episode.
Right, because of, the having her little trip through time to kind of flash back and get some backstory on Doc and everybody. During
her little dinner, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, also learns a little bit of knowledge on him.
Yes.
Which I thought was interesting. Knowledge that he didn't know.
That's true. So before one of the widows, Beth, goes to identify Tucker's body.
Quote unquote.
Yeah, but guess what? She's not really all that mournful about it.
Nope.
And all she cares about is the ring he's wearing on his finger.
Right.
And the widows want it back, but hey, they can't touch it because it's evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And before she rushes off, Beth makes sure to kind of get together with Waverly and try to drive a wedge between her and Officer Hot.
Right.
Which actually works.
It sure does.
So, and she's able to distract the two long enough to get the ring back.
Right. Which apparently they can use to divine things.
Yes. So
family jewelry.
All right. So let's see what else. What else do I have in my notes here? Blah blah blah. So the do we want to talk about Dolls and Jeremy finding that Beth Gardner's fingernail?
Sure.
All right, so okay, so they basically Jeremy finds a fingernail as he's trying to go up the stairs, and turns out it's Beth's.
Me.
Yeah, because he's a big baby.
Yes.
And this leads them to the conclusion that hey, she's a widow.
Yep, because it's got the venom on it.
Right, and that venom is very important, as it turns out.
Sort of.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see what else. I guess we won't talk about Tucker just yet. And I'm trying to figure out what else is with the widows this episode.
Well, Beth uses the rings to try and divine where the third seal is. And she ends up getting kind of blocked.
Okay.
And then by Jeremy, who uses the face mask thing, right? And he finds the fingernail. And then closer to the end of the episode, where what's the other one's name?
Mercedes.
Yeah, Mercedes.
Yeah.
She actually finds Tucker near the end of the episode after he has pretended to kill himself.
Right.
And left in search of Waverly, which we'll talk about again in a minute. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I was going to talk about Dolls breaking into the Gardner residence.
Okay.
So yeah, basically he's ready to take out the widows. A fight obviously goes down. Mercedes actually holds her own.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy tries to intervene, but ends up getting knocked out by the widow vapor.
Right.
And while Dolls is distracted, Mercedes is able to escape in the nick of time.
Right. She finds Tucker out in the woods, ends up killing him, uses the blood and the rings, and finds out that the third seal is with the law.
Yes.
And then at the end of the episode, she turns out up on Officer Hot's doorstep. And it's quite a bit of a fake out, since it looks like...
Now you're talking about Mercedes?
Yes.
Yeah, because she does that ritual.
Right. And it turns out that the ring is with the law.
Yeah.
And it looks like Waverly is all set to go and talk to Officer Hot, and all of a sudden Officer Hot opens the door. We think it's Waverly, but
guess what?
It's Mercedes. Right. Now, we have the side stories, which are, of course, Tucker focusing on Waverly again.
Yeah.
And then we have...
Obsessing, more like.
Right. And there's this weird story. Now, I want to get your take on this. There's the story, of course, of Wynonna making the dinner for Doc.
Yeah, you want me to run that down?
Well, hold on a minute, because there's something else intertwined with this, and I want to get your opinion on it.
Okay.
Dolls gives Doc's girlfriend, I can't remember her name.
Oh, hold on.
Rosita?
Rosita, yes.
Rosita. Yeah. Okay, so Dolls gives Rosita a spa certificate.
Yes, that was a great scene.
Okay. It's for 2.
Yes.
So do you think he's trying to subvert her lunch dinner thing with Doc? Do you think he thinks Rosita's going to try and get Doc to go to the spa with her and stop Wynonna from having dinner? I mean, do you think that was a play to stop that dinner from happening?
The way I thought about these tickets were for Waverly, right?
No, they were for Rosita.
Oh.
And I thought maybe he would think Rosita would invite Doc.
Right.
To go with her to the spa, and therefore make it so Doc...
Yeah, I think that's the case, yeah. And then Rosita turns around and invites Waverly.
Right.
Right, got it.
It ends up this chain of events of, Doc going over to Wynonna's house and them having that weird, uncomfortable...
Yeah, the
dinner.
Yeah, where she makes it like this worst cheese concoction ever.
Oh, again.
And he brought this, and Doc apparently brings this creepy picture that he bought up at an antique shop
that serves drinks.
Yeah.
And it's a guy with...
It's like an old-timey saloon, so that should tell you something right there.
Right.
But yeah, for the appetizer, Doc tells Wynonna that he went out to the Salt Flats to chat with the Stone Witch.
Mm-hmm. But she's there.
Yeah. And he found her decapitated, thanks to Juan Carlo.
Right. So, yeah, they have this really weird... I guess it's a dinner, but it was kind of in the middle of the day.
Right.
And she makes this weird lunch thing, and then she lays down. She says, "So you said you would stick with me through thick and thin. Well, I need your ring."
Right. Yeah. Basically, says, "Hey, I know you have the last seal, and you got to give it over to me so I can break it, and defeat the demon."
Right. And they end up actually learning a bit about each other.
Right.
He talks about his past and how his mother died and how, she had tuberculosis and he was kept apart from her. And so we get to learn a little bit about his background. And,
but we also find out the big thing about Doc is that he's afraid of losing his immortality.
Of course. Wouldn't you be?
Well, depends how long you've lived. Maybe you're ready to go. But Doc apparently isn't ready to go just yet.
He lived a long time down in that well. I think I want to live a little bit above ground for a while.
Well, I would think so.
Right. So,
and more on that well later, by the way.
In the next talk. So, yeah, I can see why he may not want to give that up. And she does make a compelling case. Well, it's a bigger thing.
Right.
That we need it for. And not just that, but you said you'd do anything for me and the baby. And this is anything. And not just that, but, we can do it together. We'll wait until the very end and we'll do it together. And it's just that you'll age like everyone else. So you'll grow up with me.
Yeah, we could grow old together, but he's not down with that. I'm guessing at some point he's going to be, because they want to probably realize that, hey, the actor is going to age.
Right.
So maybe we shouldn't stop making him stop being immortal.
Right.
So exactly. I'm guessing that's how it's going to ultimately resolve itself.
Right. So yeah.
Or something happens to the ring and he's forced to live out the rest of his life.
Right.
Something like that.
Right. But they don't know how it's going to work out.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it ends up the painting brings this creepy doll to the house. She gets the ring, but Wynonna dispatches her.
Yeah, essentially, this doll comes out of the painting and then starts growing.
Yeah, weird.
And it's this big creepy looking doll thing. And so that's.
Of course, we don't need another dolls.
Yeah, exactly.
How much did you see that line coming down Main Street?
Well, it's right there. I mean, if you see my rating for this week, it sets itself up.
Right.
We kind of glossed over the spa thing, though.
We'll talk about that. I was finishing this up, and then I was going to hand it back to you for the spa thing.
Okay, got it.
So the doll throws the ring. Doc picks it back up, and he gets on his knee like he's proposing, and says, so we can do this together. And she says, "I do," and it's this big deal. And so she now.
Right.
Wynonna has the ring, and we don't know what she's going to do with it, but she has the ring. Doc does not. And that's where we leave that storyline. The painting is weird, and it's burnt up, and the doll's gone, and we have no idea who that guy from the antique shop is.
Yeah,
but
that was one of the more creepier things they've had on the show, in my opinion.
I agree. That doll was just weird.
Because it would just kind of lurk in the background and not say anything, and that's what made it really creepy.
It was. And that guy with the weird tail. Plus the fact that, antique shops don't really have a bar in them.
Yes.
Which was to begin with.
That right there should have tipped him off, really.
Right. Okay. I'm going to get back to you for this.
Okay, now for the back spot. Okay, so Waverly and Rosita are there in the spa, just hanging out in the hot tub. Oh, yeah.
Hold on. There you go.
Oh, yeah. So they're just kind of chilling out, having some champagne. And
bubbles in the champagne. Rosita explaining how the bubbles work in the champagne.
Yeah. Rosita goes all science geek about the bubbles, which was pretty adorable. I'm kind of really liking Rosita. Mm-hmm. So I was really worried about that she was going to die.
Me too.
But thankfully they did not kill her. So
I
was very happy about that.
Oh, she is a little in peril.
Yes, she was a little imperiled. So,
I mean, she might continue to be.
yeah, we'll
based
see.
on what we learn.
We'll see. So, but that's kind of getting ahead of ourselves. So, Waverly's like just all upset because of fighting with Officer Hot.
Mm-hmm.
And she starts venting to Rosita. And one thing leads to another because, hey, you got a little hot tub action. You got a little alcohol with the champagne. Oh, yeah.
Right.
And so Waverly, little smoochy, that Waverly kisses Rosita.
That's right.
So, and Waverly ultimately feels guilty about because, I betrayed Officer Hot.
Yeah, until they, she breaks
And
it off.
everybody's like, you kissed her, big deal. But
right. I know, I am. And she says, I'm dating Officer Hot. I'm dating Nicole. And she says, I'm dating Doc.
Yeah.
And they break it off, and then they end up going, into the changing room, and Tucker's waiting there. And
then knocks her out.
Yeah.
Yeah, first he thought that maybe he killed her.
Right. But no.
No, he just knocked her out.
Well, no. He did
kill her. Well, that's true. He did kill her, but, hey, she's not going to stay dead because, turns out she's a revenant.
Right.
That's the big reveal. Rosita the Revenant.
That's right. And there's another reveal later to Rosita, which we kind of knew, where Waverly goes to the bar at the end to, kind of tie up the loose ends. And, we talked about Tucker's story already, that Waverly kind of gets on his good side. Tucker runs off with her. We know Tucker has this obsession with Waverly. Waverly says, I just need to call my sister and assure her everything will be all right, and then she won't come looking for me. And she ends up evading Tucker. Tucker goes out and looks for her, and that's when he meets his doom. Waverly goes to Rosita, and they end up talking to each other, and she says, so, give me a head start. Mm-hmm. So, Wynonna, it'll take a little longer for Wynonna to catch up to me. And Waverly says, well, only if you don't tell anyone that I might be half a revenant. And so there's a bit of a thing there. And Rosita says, I'm on your side. So there's going to be this detente now between Rosita and our team of misfits.
Yeah, I think it'll be, depends if they decide to keep Rosita around.
And why wouldn't they?
Yeah, she seems like a great character. I don't know why you get rid of her. Because you're going to need a science geek. You got Jeremy, but Jeremy's, flaky.
So milquetoast.
Yeah.
She's already gotten dolls off of the black badge serum that has kept him dependent on them for everything. And she's helping them to find a cure for the venom. And she's helping them everywhere she can.
Right.
So why would they get rid of her?
And you could also almost set up this romantic triangle between her, Waverly, and Officer Hot.
That's right.
Just saying.
Plus, you have the other side where she will always have this little jealous streak with Doc. And
yeah, that's true, because she does she does seem a little resentful about Doc being fixated on Wynonna.
Yeah, there was that when Wynonna came to pick him up in the bar, and he was like, she said, are you going to say bye? And he goes, bye. And he just walks the door, and she's like, what?
Yeah. What just happened?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the whole episode. It was a good episode, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was a really great episode. So what's your rating?
I give it 8 plush spa robes.
Okay. Yep. Apparently they like the robe so much. Didn't Rosita say she stole one?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Waverly did too, although not on purpose.
Yeah, that's true. She did. I give it 8.5 creepy dolls not named Xavier.
Oh, that doll.
Because it was pretty creepy.
It was really creepy.
Yeah. So,
but I
like that a lot.
You put creep. I made it creepy for you.
Oh.
I hope it's okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got creepy on my notes.
Okay, good.
So yeah,
It just said creepy there, so I put a Y.
Yeah.
I mean, it said creep.
Oh, the word creep. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I just probably forgot to type the rest of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that. Moving on, episode 10.
I
I
see
see a darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah, written by John Callahan, directed again by Ron Murphy.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
I can tell it's got the same tone to it.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a book by...
And this is our A story.
Yes. Hold on a minute. Who's it by? I forgot. William Faulkner.
There you
called
go.
As I Lay Dying.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. As I Lay Dying.
You might have heard of him.
My A story is called As She Lay Dying.
Right.
By the way, if you haven't read As I Lay Dying, it is incredibly good.
I have not.
Oh, so good.
I have not read that.
So good. It's told from the point of view of a whole family of like pioneer time people around a woman who has died, her family, and it's really good. Anyway, and one of the chapters is narrated by her after her death, and then everyone else. So anyway, it's really good. B story.
I'll take your word for it because I haven't read it.
Okay, read it.
Okay.
B story. The order handed it to dolls on an undetermined metal platter. I don't know whether it's silver or not. They did actually mention.
It was probably B silver, I would think. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they said, what kind of silver is this? And then Wynonna disappeared, so it fell. So the order handed it to dolls on a...
Something platter.
Metal platter, yeah.
A TBD platter.
And then I got the law and the law
one. Yep.
Because a lot of capturing of the law, but the law came out on top every time.
Yeah, so basically we find out that the sheriff can take some torture.
Yep.
So, but we'll get into that.
Comebacks, too.
Yeah.
This is nothing compared to Wynonna whenever she would get in trouble.
Sheriff Yosemite Sam can hold his own.
He sure can.
Because he's... Razor rabbit. No, yeah. He's got that big bushy mustache. Looks like Yosemite Sam to me.
I like him.
All right, so As She Lay Dying...
That is Officer Hot, of course, who ends up getting bitten very early in the episode.
Yeah, so we kind of pick up where we left off at the previous episode, where Mercedes busted into Nicole's house and then busted up Nicole. She apparently thinks that Nicole has the last seal, which she doesn't.
Right.
And
because rings point to that house,
right.
And Nicole is the law.
Right.
She assumes that Nicole has the ring.
But hey, Waverly shows up to defend Officer Hot.
That's right.
There's a big fight, and Nicole, as you said, gets bitten by the widow, and Waverly can't stop Mercedes from escaping.
That's right.
So.
Well, she doesn't want to stop her. She wants to call 911. And...
Yeah, exactly. So Nicole ends up getting rushed to the hospital, which apparently doesn't look good.
Nope.
Because the doctors can't figure out what kind of venom is, affecting her.
Sure. But, we know what kind it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's got 4 hours tops?
Yeah, something like that. So guess who shows up at the hospital? Beth. Finds Waverly just, upset, naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Beth offers, hey, I'll save Officer Hot's life if, you kind of get me that last seal.
Right. And she makes it a point to kind of taunt her and say, hey, my sister couldn't do the deal, but hey, she kind of made it easy for me because this is a good bargaining chip.
Yeah, pretty much because I've got leverage on you.
Now I know what to do.
Yeah, I should have thought of this earlier. So, Waverly's forced to consider it, and then Jeremy shows up, saying if they can extract more venom, he might be able to synthesize an antidote.
Right.
But hey, that means you have to go get it from the widow. So.
Right. Not the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of things that happen at the hospital.
Right.
There's a doctor there
Yeah.
that ends up being someone's sister.
Oh, let's see. Don't remember what you were talking about. Oh, I might not have this here.
She's the Stone Witch's sister.
Where is it? Oh, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, the Stone Witch's sister, Greta, works at the hospital.
Right.
And so, yeah, so Waverly, she's at Nicole's bedside, so she leaves and asks her if she knows how to get the venom out.
Right. Because that's an alternative.
Yeah. But apparently, Greta, let's see, I guess Waverly promises her to do anything to help Nicole. And, of course, Greta's like, anything?
Yeah.
Okay. So, so basically, so she figures out there's a cure, and she writes down the address of the place,
Mm-hmm.
and then leaves, and that's it. So, I'm trying to think where it goes from there.
Collect until after Nicole is well, but boy, does she collect.
Yeah, so because it turns out that, oh, hey, while this is going on, okay, so Doc and Wynonna go to try to get the widow venom,
Mm-hmm.
and there they find the sheriff being tortured,
Mm-hmm.
and so they basically Wynonna shoots the widow in the leg with Peacemaker. Doc ties her up so they can bring her back to Black Badge and get the venom, extract the venom.
Right.
So,
And they also find one of the real sisters with her face cut off.
Right.
Which was gross.
Yeah, that's true. So, I think it's the real Beth, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's Beth. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's her. So, yeah, she basically has no face, but no mouth either.
Yeah, it's weird. Whatever.
It's like she's completely faceless, but the skin is off her faceless face.
Right. It's gross.
Yeah. All she has is apparently nostrils because that's what she uses to breathe when they take her back to the hospital and bandage her face up.
Yeah. And they've been kind of feeding off her.
Yeah.
Which is gross.
Yeah. So Wynonna shows back at the hospital. She's got the vial in her hand. It's like, hey, I got the cure. But,
Hold on. Where is it?
I got one.
Ever.
There you go. Yeah, it turns out Waverly already traded the ring for the serum. And, Officer Hot's already like, hey, I'm good.
Yeah.
And so Greta shows back up over at Shorty's to collect on her debt.
That's right.
Yeah, so what she does is she casts a spell on that trophy. That trophy, the one, the infamous gif of Wynonna like carrying the trophy and like giving everybody the finger, double finger, middle finger.
A few episodes ago.
Yeah.
And she says at the time, you killed my sister.
Right.
And so I'm going to make it up to you guys.
Yeah, remember there's something inside that trophy.
That's right.
So Doc shows up because Greta's there speaking like German. Some kind of weird German incantation.
He says German, but it just sounds weird.
Well, it was kind of German, actually.
Kind of German.
I know German. That was there was some.
It sound kind of German.
Yeah, like
old German.
Like ye old German.
Ye oldie Germany.
Yeah, ye oldie German.
Germanic.
Yeah, there you go. So Doc places his hand on the trophy to try to stop her.
Yeah.
Big mistake because he immediately disappears.
Well, I think it just coincided with her ending the thing, because if Wynonna disappears from the timeline, then he goes back to the well because Wynonna is the one who got him out of the well.
Oh, I see. So he's more like a side effect.
Right.
Okay, got it. So yeah, apparently Greta's plan was to get revenge by making everybody forget that Wynonna even existed.
Right.
Took her completely out of existence.
Right.
So.
Erased from the timeline.
Yep.
And then...
And no, it wasn't Barry Allen's fault.
Waverly is getting married. We don't know who she's getting married to.
I tried to make that. Yeah,
I liked it.
Yeah, okay.
Not
all right. I was stretching
we
there.
don't know.
What?
We don't know whether it's Barry's fault or not.
Because everything is always Barry's fault, so yeah.
We don't know, though.
It's not all my fault.
We just barely saw.
Yeah.
It is the DC universe.
That's true. Well, no. Actually, no. Wynonna Earp is IDW.
Oh, IDW.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. Still, Barry could have something to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. Because hey, Barry even affects other universes.
Yeah. And just as a side note, even though the widow got the ring, or what's her name got the ring, one of the other seals is that plate.
Right.
And Dolls got the plate from the Order.
Yes.
So the widows don't have all 3 seals.
This is true.
So if the timeline does go back, which it will, then they don't have all 3 seals. The plate is under Dolls' control.
So presumably, if Wynonna's taken out of the timeline, then all the revenants that she are back.
Unless Waverly did it.
Well, that's true. It depends how much history was changed.
Right.
So, yeah.
We'll find out.
If they all have Spock beards because they're evil now. Or
well, no one has Spock.
It's an alternate universe, alternate timeline.
That's true. It's true.
Yep.
And I haven't watched it yet. It was on last night, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet either, so we'll find out.
So what did you
I was too busy watching The Defenders.
Me too.
It's because we've been waiting a long time for that.
We have been.
All right. So I gave this one 8.5 vials of widow venom.
It was gross looking.
Yeah, it was. And what did you give it, Karen?
I gave it 8 7 3/4 size hats, because that's how Doc found out that the sheriff was the one taken.
Right. Apparently he has a big head.
Right. Not Officer Hot.
Yeah. But yeah, dude can take a punch. He's like getting the crap kicked out of him, but he's not giving up the goods. So yeah.
And I think it's great that he had a big part in this episode.
But
he said, "No one touches my mug."
Yeah. Well, apparently they do, because somebody found the ring in the mug.
Yeah, I know.
So.
But it was Waverly.
Yeah.
Waverly's pretty brazen. Okay, so on to Preacher time.
Preacher Holes. This is episode 8.
I laugh out every time I hear, because I'm 12.
Yeah, Holes.
Right?
Yeah. Written by Mark Stegeman, directed by Maya Vervillo.
You and me, we are
simpatico. Yes, we are. We're totally in sync on The Preacher this week.
Yep.
This time, because both of them, we have same ratings for both. So what's our A, B, and C?
Light as a featherstone, stiff as a sword.
Nice.
For the first one. BMOTC instead of BMOC. Big man on the cell block.
Right.
And that is, of course, for Arseface.
Yes. Yeah. So.
Lullabies and goodbye.
Okay.
For the C stories, and then Dream a Little Dream and Nerd Herd.
Dream a little dream of me.
Yeah. Or not.
Or not. All right. So, light as a featherstone, stiff as a sword.
A sword would be Tulip.
Yeah. So
they have a little introduction in this episode.
That's true. They do. So, Laura Featherstone, as if we find out, yes, she's spying on Jesse using a hidden camera.
She sure is.
And,
all of them, not just.
Yeah.
So she learns a lot of things.
Yeah, she does. So basically, she's kind of gathering data on them, and let's see what else. Tulip ends up going around spackling the holes left from the bullet hole. And so she goes from apartment to apartment, spackling all these bullet holes.
She's looking for things to do because she's not sleeping. So
well,
this is
but essentially, she's all PTSD after the scene of killers.
And I think maybe there is some sort of a supernatural effect as well, where she can't stop dreaming about it because she touched him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that is a new element.
I don't know. I don't know either. I just think that maybe just Tulip is usually the one in control of the situation.
Yeah.
And the Saint of Killers actually took that control away from her. So I think it's just he scared the crap out of her.
You think?
And she's traumatized.
Okay.
I think. We'll find out.
Stop.
That's my take on it. I could be wrong, but it could be supernatural. I'm not going to rule it out.
Okay.
Especially with this show. I can't rule it out.
It's true.
So Tulip's going from apartment to apartment. She finally gets to this last apartment, but hey, it's the same apartment where Featherstone and Hoover are spying on them.
Yep.
So she knocks on the door, and Featherstone's kind of freaking out a little bit because, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And so she's like, okay, who is it? And then she's like, hold on a minute. And then she answers the door finally with a wig on.
Yep.
Well,
looking all mousy.
Well, and she's not really they kind of hide everything that was in there, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
she acts like she's an abused wife.
Yeah. She calls herself Jenny. She introduces herself as Jenny. And then Tulip invites her out to the Hurt Locker. Hey, you want to go, get yourself shot for money?
Right. And I love how earlier in the episode, Hoover came back from shopping and he had Booberry.
Cereal.
Right. And it's Ghost. Booberry's a ghost.
Yes.
And we're all white. So is that an allegory for them? That he likes Ghost cereal and they wear all white? I don't know.
Well, I don't think so because, they're called the Grail. So...
I just thought it was funny that he liked the ghost.
I think, it was, I think what it was, it was just kind of a callback because remember, in Dennis's apartment, I think he had Booberry.
Oh, really?
Or it was, I think, and then Cassidy saw it. He's like, "Oh, Booberry, I love Booberry," or whatever.
Okay.
Somebody said that.
So he brings home Booberry, and Featherstone hates it.
Or maybe it was Tulip. I can't tell.
Tulip comes in and says, "Oh, Booberry, I love that."
Yeah, maybe that was it. That she was a callback to when she saw it somewhere
and then
else.
Featherstone says, "Oh, it's my favorite," after she has derided it.
Right.
In this episode. So, I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, she was just Featherstone was just giving Hoover a hard time about it.
Yeah, she says then you look like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he has a little tiny.
Yeah.
And then later when Tulip shows up and she says, "I love Booberry," and she says, "Me too." Yeah. I rolled my eyes really hard.
Well, she is lying, of course. That's what she's supposed to. She has to do she has to cover for it, so yeah.
So she's playing an abused wife, which of course plays into all of Tulip's, protective instincts.
That's
because
true.
She's been watching Tulip, so she knows what will kind of hit all her buttons. And Tulip,
that's true. She knows how to manipulate her, is what you're saying. Yeah. All right, so I think that was it for Featherstone this week.
Yep.
Okay. So the stiff as the sword part.
No, that's Tulip.
Okay, that's okay. All right. So big man on the cell block, that's obviously Eugene.
Yeah.
So we have Eugene taking Mannering's advice, that guard in Hell's. He's all jacked up.
Uh-huh.
And he's got some ink on his back.
Yeah, and he is swaggering.
Yeah. And it says Tracy, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. So everybody's intimidated by him.
Yeah, stealing candy bars and
Yeah, exactly. And of course, in hell, it's all Zagnut bars in the vending machine.
And it's not like he can eat it.
Right.
He can't eat it, so he says, I'll save it for later, and he just tosses it aside.
Well, you could probably kind of crush it up, and then...
Do you think?
He could.
Okay.
If he wanted to.
If he wanted to.
Because, I mean, he does have a tiny mouthful, because remember, he can do it through a straw.
Yeah. I know, but...
So he could probably kind of hoover it, no pun intended, that way.
He could swallow it, I'm sure.
Somehow. I mean, he's got to be eating something somehow.
So he steals it. He tries to give it away, and he says, "I'll just save it for later."
Yeah.
And Hitler kind of goads him.
Right.
Says, "I know you're the one that doesn't belong here. It's going to slip.
Yeah.
You're going to be the one that ends up in the hole, and thus another hole that is referred to by the title holes."
Yeah. So Mannering ends up telling everybody, hey, you can go back to your cells shortly, which is like, yay, great. Mm-hmm. So when she asks, she kind of figures, though, she says that, hey, we know somebody's not supposed to be here. So fess up, tell me who it is. And apparently Eugene starts to raise his hand, but thinks better of it.
Right.
And then everybody else says, oh, it's me, so, you can kick me out of hell. And then Mannering's like, okay, we're going to do this a different way. So Hitler calls Eugene on it, and he talks about, like, what happened to Tracy.
Right.
And then Eugene says, I don't deserve to get out.
Right.
So he's basically punishing himself.
Yep. Yeah, he says, I might not deserve to be in. I mean, he doesn't say it in so many words, but I might not deserve to be here, but I also don't deserve to get out.
Right.
And then, Hitler taunts him about, I mean, in a weird way, he taunts him.
But then, all of a sudden, a woman trips over.
Yep.
And that's Eugene's big mistake, because Eugene helps her up.
That's right.
And Hitler's like, well, that was nice of you.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hitler! Shakes fist.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he gets thrown in the hole, because you can't be nice. You want me to do that? Oh, wacky Hitler.
Oh, that's a sitcom. That darn Hitler.
That's right. That darn Hitler.
That darn Hitler.
That darn Hitler. He wanted to play.
Yeah. So of course he gets caught on camera.
Eugene. That's right. And Eugene gets thrown in the hole, and he thinks it's
Eugene go down the hole.
That's right. Tracy actually is nice to him. It looks like it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah. Everything. Yeah. It's basically like, it's totally unexpected to Eugene. You think Eugene's expecting the worst. It's like, oh, hey. He goes to kiss her, and she doesn't turn him away.
No, she likes it.
And they start singing Closing Time together.
Closing time. Once called for alcohol.
Yep. Yeah.
It's the dumbest thing I have ever seen.
See, that song right there would be hell to me, but, hey.
Yeah. I watched Glee, and it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but apparently Eugene's got some pipes. Let's just put it that way.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but Tracy's boyfriend, who turns out to be Jesse.
Yeah.
Of all people, comes out of the bathroom. They start making out right in front of Eugene. And right. Eugene's like, stop. And then he turns the shotgun on himself and pulls the trigger.
With taunting
yes.
from Jesse and...
Right. And Tracy.
Yeah. And Tracy reaches for Jesse's belt buckle, and it is definitely a step up from his other hell. It's worse.
So apparently afterwards, at some point afterwards, Eugene's back in his bunk, and Hitler tells Eugene, hey, you're going to help me escape from hell.
Mm-hmm.
So Hitler's got a plan.
And Eugene is in.
Yep.
He doesn't want to go there again.
Yeah, exactly. Which is good because we want Eugene out of hell anyway, so hurry up, Hitler.
Do we want Hitler out, though?
Well, something tells me Hitler won't make it out.
Let's hope so.
So I'm guessing that maybe Eugene kind of screws over Hitler.
Yeah. This is a bad week to talk about Hitler getting out of prison.
Yes, it is.
Kind of it, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, because if he escapes hell, if Hitler escapes hell, he's just going to end up with a job in the Trump administration. So
I know, right?
Which we don't want.
Tailor-made for him.
Yeah, exactly. So because hey, he's got to replace Steve Bannon with somebody.
It's true.
So what better person than Hitler, I guess. All right. So
let's talk about Dream a Little Dream.
Yeah, that's a little more cheerier subject.
It is kind of, right? Tulip is having these dreams and she doesn't want to go to sleep. And so she's making all this busy work, and we learn near the end of the episode when she goes to what is Featherstone using as a name again?
Jenny.
She goes to
Jenny, who can I turn to? 8675309.
Us and Jesse have been trying to talk her out of going to the Hurt Locker. So she goes down to Jenny's apartment and gets a gun, and we know she's going to go back to the Hurt Locker. So that's a build up to the next episode.
Jenny's got a gun. Oh, wait, that's Jeannie.
She also goes with Jesse to the what is the place called that he goes to? It's not a Best Buy, but it's called.
Oh, it's the Dork Docks.
Yeah, I know, but it's called something.
I forget what the name of the store is.
Yeah. I put Nerd Herd.
But essentially, it's like Best Buy,
right?
And these Dork Docks are like their preacher version of the Geek Squad.
Right. Nerd Herd is what they're called on Chuck.
Okay.
So I used Nerd Herd.
Okay. But yeah, they call themselves the Dork Docks.
The Dork Docks. And here's what I love about them is, of course, they're in New Orleans. So what happens? Jesse goes there and says, I want you to blow this up. And then he says, you might see some stuff on here that's disturbing. And they say, it's New Orleans. We see stuff all the time. Right. And then they're so happy when they blow it up and they see that it's scratched off and they do the high fives and all that.
Yeah, because apparently they made it so that you couldn't see who it was because they thought, hey, Jesse was trying to get rid of evidence.
Right. Although I think
because they think Jesse did it.
I think that's what it was, though.
Yeah.
I think they were just happy that that's what they saw, and Jesse's like, no, I wanted to find out who it was. Right. And the disturbing thing was
that they got to start all over again.
Right. Here's the deal, though. When he says, I don't need it back, they go to shred it, and it says property of Grail Industries on it, which, again, is that what you wanted?
No, I was gonna do.
Oh, please. Both of them apply.
Yes, they do.
So Jesse missed the most obvious clue that was right under his nose the whole time. Property of Grail Industries. Yeah. Yeah. Hello.
Jesse is not Batman. Let's just put it that way.
No.
He may fight like Batman, but he doesn't detect like Batman.
He had that disc in his hand the whole time. He watched it over and over again. He never thought to look at the imprint on it.
Tulip would have probably figured that out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it got shredded by the Dork Docks, and
So yeah, they don't know. So he basically has to come up with another way to make that connection.
Right. Now, Lullabies and Goodbye.
Yep.
At the beginning of the episode, we see Cassidy with his newborn baby.
Yeah, we basically get the origin of Dennis in this episode,
and him saying
and it's in 1946.
Yeah, the best dad ever.
Yep.
And apparently that didn't work out so good.
Yeah. But Dennis wakes up in the present day. He says, "Bite me" in French.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he wants to be a vampire. He doesn't want to live.
Bite me.
He doesn't want to die, I mean. So yeah, so he's like, yeah, bees make me a vampire, and
I think honestly, he doesn't want to
yeah,
be in agony. Is the main thing.
right.
Because he's in agony with his emphysema or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they're essentially keeping him comfortable. They're bringing in doctors. Cassidy has a doctor that speaks French that he brings over to the apartment.
Right.
And at one point, he talks to Jesse about using the word on him. And Jesse says, and this is a big point for me.
Okay.
He says, no, that's not how it works. And it actually resolves in the next episode in a way that I didn't like.
Okay.
So I'll tell you about it when we get to that.
Is there a rant coming?
No,
Okay.
not a rant.
Okay.
Just a thing that I noticed and I feel bad about it.
Okay.
I can mention it here if you want me to.
If you want.
He uses the word on Tulip to help her sleep.
Oh yeah, that. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
What the?
Well, he did it out of concern because she wasn't sleeping.
Yeah, Dennis is dying.
That's true. It does seem a little hypocritical, doesn't it?
It does seem
But
a little.
But obviously he cares more about Tulip than he does Dennis.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Jesse does operate from a
He's very
self-interest.
Yeah.
His approach is very self-interest. Yeah.
Cassidy sees it as you care about Tulip more than you care about me.
Right.
Because that's Cassidy's pain, essentially. So we find out in the next episode, but he actually has bitten Dennis by the end of this episode to keep him from dying.
Yeah.
So.
Well, but one other thing with Cassidy this week is he calls up another Irishman named Seamus.
Right.
And he asks for help, and he confides to him about Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
And he refuses to help because, hey, he says, well, you probably got hundreds of sons out there. And then he refers to him as Princess.
Right.
So he uses Cassidy's first name. So this is the first time we hear Cassidy's first name.
Mm-hmm.
In this.
So this is someone that has known Cassidy a long time.
Yes. So we'll find out more about him.
We will.
Right.
And Seamus actually says, don't bite him. Let him die.
Right.
Because this is not a life to give someone else.
So obviously Seamus is very familiar with Cassidy being a vampire.
That's right.
All right. Anything else about this episode?
All
right. What's your rating?
8.5 Zagnut bars.
Right. Because
there's way more than that in that machine, but
because Zagnut bars are no one eats those
the
things.
The
worst, and of course that's what would be in hell.
And they're always stale.
Yeah. Well, I've never had one.
I was given one once, so I ate it, and it was just the worst.
Yeah, I bet. Not exactly a Hershey bar, or Nestle Crunch, or a Kit Kat, or
They're neither Zag nor nuts.
You're nuts if you zag.
That's
with
right.
a Zag nut. All right. There's your slogan. I give it. We're in sync with this week. 8.5 spackled bullet holes from me.
Nice. Yep. 8.5.
So, all right.
I think that it's a consensus.
Yes.
Ding,
ding. Ding, ding. Ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
I know you like that sound effect. All right. So we're moving on. Episode 9 of Preacher, Puzzle Piece, written by Craig Rosenberg, directed by Michael Dowse.
And by the way, your rating.
Yeah, you liked my rating.
You laugh out loud.
Yeah.
No, I do not.
That was it had to be the most sublime, hilarious, like Preacher in the comic scene.
Right. And then when it came back as a callback at just the wrong moment.
Yes.
We'll have to talk about that when you give your...
We got to talk about that. So, okay. But if you watch the episode, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, you were just finding out here for the first time, stay tuned. All right. So what's our A, B, and C, Karen?
Who wrote it? And did you give that already?
Yeah, I did. It said Craig Rosenberg, Michael Dowse.
Okay. You did. Okay.
Yes, I did.
A story... aren't bushed instead of ambushed.
Yep.
And police presence.
Okay.
And B story, her vested interests.
I see what you did there.
Thank you. C story, and there's a couple. There was something about Harry.
Okay.
Harry Connick.
Oh, okay, got it. I get it now. Okay.
And then, who are you? I mean, Harry. Stop. That was just the thing at the end.
So obviously this episode was a big home run because who's back? Hairstar is back.
Oh my God, in a big way.
Hairstar is essentially becoming the MVP of the season.
He is. And
as I was hoping he would be.
He is both the punchline and the straight man.
Yes. Because of because he has this deadpan delivery. And
he's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it.
Okay. So Art Bush and police presence.
Yes.
I guess this is Jesse essentially using the local cops with using Genesis.
Well, first of all, Featherstone and
Hoover
go to Hairstar when he arrives in town and give their intel, and Hairstar just doesn't want to deal with it. He says, just take them all out.
Yeah, just kill him because
right.
he apparently Featherstone's trying to tell him about how important Jesse is, and at this point, Hairstar could care less.
Right. So yeah, he just doesn't care, and he says, just take them out. We can't have that.
Yeah.
In the world, so let's take them out. And she knows that if they send people in and they can hear, Jesse will take them out. So she sends in this task force of men that have their hearing blocked.
Right.
And gas masks on and all this stuff. And they end up shooting Dennis. And this is how we find out that Dennis has been made into a vampire, because he lives.
Yeah, he basically comes out of nowhere and attacks one of the guys and they did this very interestingly because they shot it like first person, where you're seeing through their camera, like as they're watching. I think as they're watching at the Grail base.
Right. It's dark.
It's dark, and they're using night vision goggles.
And you hear him breathing, and you hear the communication devices, right? And it's like,
yeah, exactly. So it's like all first person shooter video game.
Right. Exactly. It's like Halo.
Yeah. Exactly.
And he says, "I got the old man." And then every once in a while, like, you'll hear Cassidy yelling because they've gotten Cassidy. And so one of them has their mic open, and they're attacking Cassidy because it's not like he dies right away or anything. So they're trying to kill him, but he's yelling, "Oh, get your hands off me!"
Yeah, yeah, and then, but Dennis, he basically comes out of nowhere and attacks one of the guys, and because you thought, well, they went and shot Dennis,
right?
Very all matter of factly, no big deal. Just he's dead. Okay, old man's dead. But yeah, Dennis obviously still lives because hey, he's a vampire now.
Right, and that's when we learned. Although I kind of got that that was the deal. And then Jesse ambushes the guy that we are living through.
Right. Rips
off his helmet, uses the word, and says, "Kill your
teammates."
Team, right.
Yeah, kill your so basically the guy starts shooting his team, and then Jesse ends up recognizing them as the guys from when he first met Featherstone.
Right.
But before he gets to ask the private Koyama questions, that's when Dennis shows up and kills him.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. He went all cougar.
It's like the cat from Alien.
Yeah. Jones.
Jump scare.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was really funny.
Yeah,
it reminded me of when Jesse was trying to make Cassidy fly, and you see him jump across. It reminded me of that.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Yeah. So, and this is also when we learn that Tulip is out at night doing things because she's not there in the apartment.
Yes. Yeah. Tulip has some late night activities.
Right.
So,
And then the police arrive, and since they show up and they're not wearing anything to dampen their ears.
Right. Jesse gets control of them using Genesis.
You work for me now.
Yeah. So he doesn't just choose like one cop. He gets all of them. So he has like a whole police squad.
Mm-hmm.
And
he sets them up real good.
He does because he's expecting more.
Mm-hmm.
So he basically creates like a perimeter of these cops.
Yep.
And so they're like, they're using the walkie-talkies to, give like checkpoint updates.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. He has got it down.
Yeah.
And then he says, call the cleaner, and they call the cleaner.
And Jesse's just like a soldier, He's just like, hey, you got this, and you do this, and tell me what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
So great.
I
love that.
It was like this really effective, like organized Jesse.
How scared were you of that weird guy that showed up in the window of that cop? That guy was weird. With the weird smiley face mask.
Oh, yeah.
Cop's window.
Yeah.
I was like, what is that guy?
Yeah. Because basically there's this like big fat guy.
Right. He was weird looking.
Yeah.
And he had a rubber mask on, but it looked almost real, and it was like a super smiley, weird face.
Yeah.
Hard to explain. And he shows up in the cop's window. The cop who has...
First we think, okay, because they talk about like that we're going to send Brad after them.
Right.
At first I thought, okay, is this Brad?
Right.
It's not Brad. He's just some drunk guy.
Oh, he's this guy that pees on the back of the guy's car, and they tackle him. And
it's all this chaos is going on because we should point out at the same time this is going on, Dennis is blasting Non Je ne regrette rien, which if you ever watch the movie Inception, it's that song by Edith Piaf.
And they cannot get him to turn it off because he doesn't understand what they're saying.
And he's all happy because, hey, I'm a vampire now, and he's rocking out to this song, which is hilarious.
And how hilarious is this that Cassidy is now trying to play the dad card?
Yeah.
Turn that crazy music down.
Yeah, he's like banging on the door. He's like, Dennis, turn that music down.
These stupid kids and their music.
So it's this whole like comedy of errors scene.
Yep. So great.
Yeah.
And then Tulip shows up. They fill her in on what's going on. There's all this madness, craziness.
Well, there's cleaners that are like trying to clean up all the dead bodies from earlier.
Right.
And then Tulip is, because, hey, she's still all PTSD, shoots one of the cleaners because she mistook the Windex cleaner for a gun.
Right. And so, double trouble.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we realize that she might be a little worse for wear than normal. And it's after this that they finally get everything settled, and Jesse sits down at the table with her. Cassidy says, you need to have a talk with her. And as Cassidy is making Dennis a meal and trying to tell him, this is what you eat. You don't jump on people. You don't, trying to lay down the rules.
Yeah.
They speak the same language. But as he's walking out of the kitchen, he uses the word on Tulip to make her sleep. And there is this look that he gives Jesse that Jesse just barely catches. That's like, I hate you right now.
Yeah.
It is really a bad look that he gives him.
Yeah, it was. Now, Jesse's coming from the position like, hey, Tulip hasn't slept in nights. So, but
again,
yeah, but again, he's using it against her will after
she
made him promise not to do it. Yeah, so he's coming from like, hey, I just care about you. I want you to get some rest. But,
and not only is it against her will, it's it's like so.
But again, it's
hypocritical of him to use it.
It is, but it also plays into her PTSD because, like I was saying, it takes the control away
from her.
And again, so it's like the scene of killers took the control away. That's why she was so traumatized. And now here's Jesse doing it again.
Right. So it can't help her.
Right.
It really can't. And he's not saying don't dream.
Right.
He's saying go to sleep.
Yeah.
And we have seen her come in with like a roll of money and all these bruises on her chest. She's actually, she's getting something out of this, even though it's dangerous. Maybe it's helping her a little bit, but I can see them trying to talk her out of it.
It's her way she's coping with it.
Right. And I can see them urging her away from that, but this is not the way to do it.
Yeah.
And not to mention that Cassidy feels like utterly betrayed by this. So it was the wrong thing to do, Jesse. Totally the wrong thing.
Good intentions, but hey, remember what's paved with good intentions?
The road to hell.
Exactly. Where Eugene is. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Is not going to be pleased with Jesse.
Yeah, exactly.
When he gets out. And then there was something about Harry. After Star finds out that the attack didn't work, he goes to kill both Featherstone and Hoover.
Yep.
But gun jams, and this is when we see Featherstone's practical side.
Right.
She takes the gun from Hairstar and tries to clear it.
Well, actually, she basically clears the gun and disassembles it, and then makes it operational again, hands it back to him. All of a sudden, he's like, "Okay, what's your name again?"
Right.
And he's suddenly very impressed with her.
But she has talked to him the whole way through, saying, maybe we can do this, we can do this, we could do this. She has ideas all the way through all this, and he's impressed with her. And
he says, okay, I'll give you one more chance.
Right.
But first I have this rape fantasy to take care of.
Can you help me out with that?
And she goes, well, okay, I'll go, change and, come up with something, better or whatever. And he's like, no, not you.
Right. Yeah, talk to...
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the episode, we see him out on a date that does not end the way he wants it to. She is not his type at all.
Yeah.
Simpery sort of woman, and he doesn't want that.
Yeah.
So he wants a rape fantasy. I don't think
because this chick she's talking about her dad and his job's important or whatever, and she's acting all like, oh, I'm just so disenchanted, and but she talks about hey, there's a boy named Steven who she called his missing puzzle his missing puzzle piece or whatever, her missing puzzle piece. So that's the title of the episode. Right. And but he could care less.
Right. I don't care about you. I got to go. You're the worst.
Yeah.
And and so he wants this other fantasy played out, and she sets it all up. I don't think it's the rape fantasy he wanted.
Yeah.
However,
well, he tells her the woman to take off her shirt in public and then put butter underneath her chin.
Right. Because he wants a submissive, I guess.
Yeah.
But not someone that's like her.
Yeah. But then it didn't work out because he gets told about what happened with Jesse.
Right.
So he's like, oh, okay, I have to find it elsewhere.
Right.
So so he's already kind of in a bad mood, and he goes back to the office, and he tells Hoover to stand on the tarp, and that's when he gets the gun jammed because he wants to kill Hoover and the gun jams.
Right.
So.
And I love that he's like, I'll leave the top down just in case. Funny. And I love this. She sets up this fantasy, and the fantasy is 3 thugs come in.
Well, no. This is Hoover was supposed to set up the fantasy. Basically, he's like, okay, Hoover, get me some professionals.
Right.
So Hoover, and this is where Hoover really screws up. He gets a hold of professionals, but it's a group of 3 male prostitutes who are called the professionals.
Right.
And they show up, and first Hairstar's like, no, like there's obviously been some miscommunication here.
Yes, to them.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not what he wanted.
No, not at all.
Right.
And so he tries to get them to leave, but they're like, no, this is happening whether you like it or not.
Right. And
they put him over the desk, and they start raping him.
Right. Which he just kind of shrugs off.
Yeah. Well, this is the difference from the comic, because in the comic, when this happens, Hairstar starts freaking out about it. Because he's like he's all like screaming and like angry, like, hey, he's being forcibly raped.
Right.
Here in the TV show, he's just like, okay, I guess this is happening, and hey, there's a magazine or something.
No, it's a file with Jesse.
Yeah, that's right, a file with Jesse. Yeah, that's what he's like. And so he's like, oh, I guess this is my missing puzzle piece.
Right.
So now he's interested in Jesse now.
Right.
So then he starts, like, later on, he starts flipping through, and he's, interested about, like, the stuff about Jesse's dad.
Right.
Which we got a flashback of early in the episode.
Yeah, but we knew about that from last season.
Yeah, exactly. So
got a flashback of it. And this is when he calls off there was a strike, like a missile strike that Featherstone was going to...
Yeah. Apparently this is Brad.
Right.
Yeah, the battle-ready remote operational aerial drone, Brad.
And so Featherstone and Hoover were going to sacrifice themselves in a drone strike on the building.
Yes.
But he tells them right at the last minute to call it off. And let's not talk about your rating yet, because
we can talk about that when I give my rating.
Right. So they call it off right in time. They send it to Harry Connick Jr.'s house, and they kill Harry Connick Jr.
So rest in peace, Harry Connick Jr., who's not really dead, but he's dead on Preacher, just like Tom Cruise.
Right. And as Jesse's drinking in the bar, they're talking about how Harry Connick Jr. has died. It's like 3 days later or something. Yeah. They're having a memorial service. And Hairstar comes and sits next to him. Jesse realizes it's one of the guys in the white suits, but he looks around. There's no one else.
Yep. So Hairstar offers to help Jesse find God.
Right. And they do have that little line of dialogue. Who are you? After Hairstar talks to him for a minute, he says, I am Hairstar. And they have a little chat. And the episode ends with them kind of...
But I think Jesse's like, okay, what's up with this guy?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen a little bit more of that scene.
Okay.
It was a preview. And there's some interesting things that happen.
I'm sure there are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Someone gets to hear about Jesse's power.
To be continued.
Yep.
All right.
Very good.
So, anything else about this episode?
No.
Right.
Just I love Dennis and Cassidy's little father-son dynamic, because he is acting like a child, Dennis. Very funny to see.
Yeah. Yep.
You stupid kid. Love it.
Yeah, apparently now Cassidy has his own Claudia, like an Interview with Vampire.
Yeah. So cute.
All right. So what's your rating?
My rating is 9 no's mean yeses.
Yep.
And yours is?
And I think you really like this one.
I love this rating so much.
9 pop-up cat ads.
Okay.
Because in this episode, okay, let me set this up. Yeah. Yeah. So Hairstar is reading this online article about prison architecture.
Right.
And
that's the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's about the middle of the episode.
Okay, middle.
So while he's doing this, a pop-up ad about cats comes on, and he's trying to click out of it. He's all,
no, and he says, "No, I do not like cats.
Yes,
no,
yes,
no,
yes, no."
no.
And then he keeps it keeps popping up, and he's keep having to like chase the mouse, use the mouse to click around the screen,
right.
with
and it goes meow, meow, meow every time it moves around, which is hilarious.
Yep. So
and
he finally he finally clicks out of it, and then he switches to Featherstone's hidden camera feed.
Right.
And at that point, he starts going through Jesse's file.
Right.
And then later in the episode, when all the crap is going down with Brad, and the Brad strike is going down, that apparently Hoover is there panicking when he finds out that Brad has already been launched, and he tries to call it off. And in the process of trying to call it off, guess what pops up? Those damn cat pop-up ads.
And so he call it off. He just ends up.
Yeah, so it ends up it finally disappears, but it's like, oh, hey, it hit Harry Connick Jr.'s house.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's so funny. I could not believe it was funny enough.
Yeah.
Just with the one
scene,
and then when they called it back.
Yeah.
Drone strike. Then
out of nowhere, you're just like, oh.
So good.
Yeah.
And it does the same thing. Meow, 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 meow. And I was like, oh, brilliant. Just brilliant.
It was too funny. So,
and I'm glad you used it.
That was my rating. So I'm glad you liked that rating. It was just a hysterical scene. All right.
So we just continue?
I think we should.
Okay.
All right. So, moving on to brand new show here on the Phantom Zone podcast, The Defenders. Yes. So here we are at last. We get the Meanwhile. So we have Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist joining forces at last.
That's right.
It's been a long time since Daredevil season 1. We've been waiting for this a long time.
And Colleen, really.
And Colleen Wing, yeah, pretty much.
She's
like the unofficial 5th member.
Yeah.
So far, at least.
She's there all the time.
Yeah. So first episode, the H word, as in the hero word.
Right.
Written by Douglas Petrie and Marco Ramirez from Daredevil. Directed by S.J. Clarkson.
That's right. And I gave this a D story, one for each of the members.
Yes, I see that.
A, D, and D.
Yep.
So,
no,
A story.
Oh, go ahead.
No, what were you going to say?
No, go ahead.
I want to hear.
You want to hear? Okay. You were talking about the 4 members, and it made me remember that one of the things in this episode is the use of color that I wanted to talk about, because they use, if you pay attention, they use red for Daredevil, they use yellow for Luke Cage, they use blue for Jessica Jones, and they use green for Iron Fist.
Cool.
Yeah,
Let's go back and look at it.
Yeah, it's basically like this. It's very clever thematic use. So, like at the end of the episode where there's this earthquake or whatever, and Daredevil's senses are getting overwhelmed, he gets bombarded with like red, yellow, blue, and green images.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of foreshadows the team.
Them meeting.
Yeah, it's essentially like a foreshadowing technique too.
Very cool.
But yeah, so like Matt, and when Matt goes into his apartment, it's all in red.
Right.
Lighting.
Right.
Or filter. And then when Jessica is sitting in a bar or whatever, it's got a bluish filter and stuff like that.
Is it purple or is it blue?
It's blue. I think because you've got red, yellow, green, you might as well use blue.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because it's not the Purple Man.
Right.
So
because the thing was all purple whenever she was in danger. I was just
it might be shades of blue, and purple has blue in it. But
yeah. All right. So my stories.
Just something I want to bring up.
That is amazing. I'm glad you did.
Something I picked up.
So I have one story title for each one of the people, and you can choose.
Yes.
I mean, I think you'll get which person it is. A story, I hate everyone.
Jessica Jones.
Correct. B story, I want to hate everyone, or do I want to like everyone? Who's that?
That is probably Daredevil.
That is Daredevil.
Okay.
C story, size matters.
That's probably Luke Cage.
That is Luke Cage. We had a little,
Yeah.
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 Someone got to find out.
Gotcha.
And then the D story is, I used my Sky Miles for this.
That's my favorite one.
Oh, thank you.
And that's obviously Iron Fist because, hey, he doesn't like turbulence.
Yeah, and not just that, but they went to China to find out about.
That too.
Then where were they? In New York.
Yeah.
Why did they go to China?
Wah, wah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mentioned one. This is pretty much the setup for everything.
Yeah.
We got to see where everyone is.
Yeah, we kind of catch up with everybody because obviously since Jessica Jones, it's been a long time since Jessica Jones season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Daredevil and Luke Cage and Iron Fist were obviously very recently, but so it's been a while. So we do have a time jump.
A little one.
Well, we have enough because Matt has already set himself up with a as kind of like a public defender kind of thing.
Right.
And then Jessica has not changed whatsoever. She's still drinking herself into oblivion.
Yep.
And has not fixed her door.
She has literally not changed.
Yeah. So Luke is now out of prison.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Danny's still
Danny cut his hair.
And he's kind of off with Colleen, and they're trying to find out what happened, why all those monks, the Kunlun monks, were killed.
I think we're a few months after Iron Fist.
Yeah.
So it's a time jump for everyone else, and then just a slight time jump for Iron.
I think probably Luke Cage probably has a bigger time jump.
Maybe.
Because remember, last time we saw him, he was headed off to prison. Now his sentence is over.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
But then we did go through another season of Daredevil and Iron Fist and all that. So,
That's
yeah.
True.
So, yeah. So the first scene we get is the fight in China where Iron Fist...
Cambodia.
Yeah. I'm sorry. The Middle East. Put it that way.
The Middle East is more like Iraq and Afghanistan. That's more like the Southeast.
I'm terrible.
Yeah. Geography, no problem.
I'm bad at geography. That's one of my biggest points.
That's no problem.
Okay, so Iron Fist and Colleen have gone to Cambodia, and they end up having a showdown with Elektra and someone else. And
now, who's that again?
Elektra.
Got it.
And that person gets away, but the other guy they end up facing down, and before he passes away, he lets it slip that the hand is really set up in New York.
Right.
And so they end up having to go back to New York. That fight scene was not the best. It was in shadows. I don't think it was meant to be one of the best fight scenes ever.
No, because it's just like an intro fight.
Meant to be shadowy. And I think they didn't want you to know who he was fighting.
Right.
I think kind of wanted it to be a hint, but it was kind of obvious, yeah. If you knew she was going to be in the season.
It was more stylish.
Yeah.
Than what we saw in Iron Fist.
Very dark.
Yeah.
Very dark. So yeah, and it was definitely just a setup fight.
Yeah.
And I liked that.
To get Danny back in New York to New York.
Right.
I think, yeah.
So he and Colleen were like, "Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Seriously? We came all the way over here and it's really just in New York?"
Right.
I cannot believe this right now. So they end up going back to New York. And there's a bit more to their story, but really it's a lot of that. Them going after the hand in this episode, right?
Yeah, it's we try to obviously it's catching everybody up. And what I liked about this is that we also catch up with their supporting characters from the various shows.
Mhm.
Cuz we have like what was it? Jessica is obviously there with Danny.
Jessica's half sister. Oh, Colleen, you mean? With Danny.
I mean Colleen. I'm sorry.
Right.
Sorry about that. I meant Colleen. Yes.
Jessica and her half sister or foster sister.
Yeah. You mean Trish?
Yeah, Trish.
Yeah, Trish.
Aren't they kind of foster sisters, kind of?
Yeah, kind of foster sister. Well, because she was brought in after Jessica's parents were killed.
Right.
So yeah. So
Trish.
it's more like but Trish all wants to. I guess Jessica shows up and um, saves Trish's car from being towed.
Right.
And
She
Trish
stood up.
wants Jessica to tell her story publicly, but guess what? Surprise, Jessica's not interested.
Yeah, she doesn't want to hear that H word, which is where the title came from.
Yeah.
And the same thing, Luke, he doesn't want to hear the H word either.
No, but we get Foggy meeting Luke Cage
Mm-hmm.
in this episode, where just as Luke is getting out of prison, Foggy shows up and offers the services of his new law firm, which, hey, we find out is Jerry Hogarth's law firm.
That's right. His girlfriend's law firm.
Yeah.
And so we get to see a lot of Jerry Hogarth.
So we find out that Marcy was working for Jerry Hogarth.
That's right. That's not a big leap, though.
No, but I mean, but it's kind of interesting that we've got it connected.
Yeah.
Officially.
Right. So he's working with and his hair's all cut.
Yeah, he got rid of the mullet finally.
Yeah. He looks all slick and everything.
Yeah, but hey, it's like it was overdue because no law firm is going to tolerate that mullet.
It's true.
He had to do it.
I mean,
The mullet had to go.
Matt would have, because it's not like Matt.
Yeah, Matt's blind anyway, so he could care less. But yeah,
right.
But
so yeah, there's that, and Matt is running into people. Matt runs into Karen, and he talks to.
But you would think when they were there in court, Foggy would have okay, I guess I need to cut my hair.
Oop. But hey.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
Somebody finally got a hold of him and pulled him aside and said, "Yeah, you better cut that."
I think it's probably his girlfriend.
Probably Marcy. Yeah, probably.
Do you think Marcy's going to put up with that?
You mean his booty call?
I think it's his girlfriend.
Probably now. They probably progressed a little bit.
Yeah.
I would hope.
And then Matt is defending a boy who is in a wheelchair.
Right.
And he gives him some hard truths, because after they win the settlement, he tells him, this is going to be, it's going to help your parents out, but things are not going to get easier for you.
Right.
And he tells him this. He says, look, I know it's not going to get easier for you, and people are going to tell you platitudes, and I'm just telling you right up front, it's going to be a hard life. And
so the sooner you step up now, the better off you're going to be.
Right.
And this is what encourages him to go talk to the press after the court case.
Well, he sees Karen, and
yeah. Well, there's that too, but yeah.
But they have a bit of a heart-to-heart.
Yep, that's true. They do.
Where she is saying, "I think I was meant for, reporting."
Yep.
And they have a little chat, and
yeah, because apparently Karen's there to get about the court case.
Right.
Now that she's working for the sort of Daily Bugle, but not really Daily Bugle.
Right. Because they don't want to name it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's the Daily Bugle.
But they call it the Daily Bulletin, I believe.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
So her boss.
So of course, yeah. So it gives her excuse to catch up with Matt.
Her boss is Ona Amison, or
yeah.
Bona Bamison.
Banana Rama Famousin.
Right.
FIFA Momason.
Exactly.
J. Jonah Jameson. Oh. The name game. All right. All right. So he catches up with Matt, and she's, I guess Matt asks her if she regrets that he told her his secret, and she says, "No, I'm glad you told me."
Right. But there's still some awkwardness there.
Yeah. It's not like they're really together, but they're at least talking.
Right.
Which is good.
Oh, they're not together at all.
No, not really, but they're talking.
And speaking of together.
So we should also talk about that Matt, as it turns out, it's obviously been a bit of a time jump for him because, hey, he has given up being Daredevil.
That's right.
And to the point where, he hears, police sirens and he kind of tenses up.
Yep. And he turns away.
He has to kind of, talk himself down. It's almost like because Daredevil has become his addiction, so he kind of gave up Daredevil cold turkey.
Yep. And I think there's part of him that's like, okay, if no one comes to this person's aid, I'll go.
Right.
And then he hears the police siren and he goes, okay, I can stand down now.
Right.
You know, it feels like that's kind of what he's doing, that he's like,
only as a last resort.
There's a presence out there. I don't have to worry about it.
But he still feels that call.
Yeah, he still feels it.
So I think that's like an addiction to him. He's addicted to the danger.
I think that's mostly why he's so adamant about not wanting to be Daredevil, is because he knows once he does it again, that's it. The switch will be turned and he'll be Daredevil again, and he doesn't want to do that.
Right.
So, yeah, and that was I want to hate everyone, or do I want to like everyone? Because he doesn't know what to want at this point.
He's still figuring things out. But he's being a better lawyer now. He's gotten that part of his life back on track.
Yeah, and he wants to make inroads again towards Karen and Foggy, but he's still kind of keeping them at an arm's length.
But at least there's open communication, as opposed to that, them fighting with one another.
Right.
So they're on better terms now, at least.
Right. And it gets almost to the point of comic relief how much he doesn't like anyone in the third episode. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'll check that out. Yeah, I'm hopefully going to catch that this weekend. Yeah. All right, so let's see what else.
Size matters.
Yeah, yeah, Luke Cage. Okay, so Luke, after speaking with Foggy, yeah. So Luke goes back to Harlem, where he's immediately greeted by, guess who? Claire Temple, the night nurse.
That's right.
And who, if you remember the Luke Cage show, coffee was kind of used as a metaphor.
Yep, they had a bunch of coffee dates.
So Claire asks him if they can go get coffee. Mm-hmm. And so, they go back. I think it's his place.
I hope so.
Yeah. Because Misty finds them there. So, yeah. So, basically, they're knocking over furniture, tables. It's on, like, instantly.
And it really on. Yeah. Like Donkey Kong.
Yep. So you're like, this is hot.
Yeah. It was hot. And afterwards, they're sitting there.
Sweet Christmas. Do we have a sweet Christmas?
Trouble, essentially.
Do we have a sweet Christmas?
I have this one.
Sweet Christmas.
Claire. It's Claire.
Yeah, that's true. That is true, Claire. So there's a knock on the door.
Well, wait. They're in the aftermath, and they're talking about Claire's letters.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And how she plagiarized poetry, and how her letters helped get him through, and she is completely embarrassed. And then knock at the door.
Yeah. So he
goes up.
So guess who's there? Misty Knight.
Right.
It shows up.
Also kind of had a thing with Luke Cage.
Well, yeah, because he got a little busy. So, she's seen the goods.
Yeah, and so has Jessica.
So basically, Luke is about to be surrounded by the Mrs. and the X and the X.
Yeah.
Which is every guy's worst nightmare.
Right?
So.
And not to mention the fact that Claire has an attraction to Matt.
That's true. But she never acted on it.
No, she didn't. But there was definitely
there was a little attraction there. I give you that. Yes. Yeah.
So, talk about tension.
Yeah, a little bit. It's gonna get really awkward for Luke.
And
let's just put it that way.
I have not seen that later on. Yeah. Just so you know, that's not me telling you anything.
Okay. Well, it's obvious because we know what Luke and Jessica were involved. So it's got to be obvious. Yeah. So apparently, I guess Luke, basically, Misty wants to know what Luke's all about now that he's back. Trying to get a handle on him.
Right. Is he going to start helping around the neighborhood again? And she pretty much just wants him to be Pops. Another Pops.
Yeah.
To mentor the kids of the neighborhood.
Say, hey, you could start up a barbershop, so.
Well,
I know.
Just Pops. Yeah. Just mentor kids.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, oh, Pops, I miss you.
Yeah. Well, if you notice, while Luke is on the bus coming back into Harlem, you look over and there was a shot of the barber shop and through the window. And he kind of looks back at it. So,
I know.
Yeah.
It was so sad.
So.
I miss Pops.
Yeah. So I like that character. So, but Luke, I guess, wants to take down Black Mariah and Shades.
Yeah, and also Claire fills him in on what Mariah has been doing.
Right.
In the neighborhood. So.
And then Misty's part of a citywide task force now. And she tells Luke that Harlem, I guess a bunch of kids have been recruited for something sinister that's getting some of them killed.
Right.
And the latest victim is the brother of someone Luke knows, a girl. Yeah, it's all connected. Yeah, exactly. So it's a girl killed during the first season. So, yeah, that waitress.
The girl that was going to rat on.
Yeah. That basically tried to pin the murder on Luke.
Right.
Yeah.
But she was going to turn and pin it on Miranda.
Yeah. And then got herself dead.
Her out, yeah.
So, yeah.
And
so then Luke goes down to hunt down the guy that Misty told him about.
Right, the brother.
And tries to lay all the mentor on him.
Not the brother. The brother.
The brother, yes.
I'm not trying to use.
I know. The girl's brother, yes.
Correct.
Yeah, I know what you're going with.
I didn't want to.
Yeah, no, you don't want to confuse that. Yeah, right. The brother. So, but apparently the kid knows more than he's talking about, and I guess it looks more like he's mixed up in that too. Whatever's going on.
Right.
So.
And he's very cagey with Luke.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Right. I know, it's terrible.
I see.
He is rather cagey. And you have to know that all these things that are happening, also Jessica's getting pulled into a case that she doesn't want to get pulled into. What's his name? The neighbor?
Oh, Malcolm.
Malcolm's
there. Malcolm's there basically trying to be her assistant that she doesn't want.
Right. He made a key when he got the locks changed, and he lets himself into her apartment, and he's really trying to get her back into the world of the living and
trying to get her back into doing her detective work again.
Right.
It's like, hey, woman, you might want to fix your door, which is still unfixed.
Big hole in the wall that they can talk through. It's like a pass-through.
Yeah.
That doesn't really need to be there.
You would think all her stuff would be stolen out of her place by now.
Yeah, except no one really wants to mess with her.
That's true.
So yeah, they're all trying to get her involved in this case, and you have to know, starting to watch this show, that they're all gonna be connected into one big thing. And who are they connected to? Who shows up in this episode? Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, so we get introduced to Sigourney Weaver, who is ultimately revealed as a character named Alexandra.
Mm-hmm.
And she is, first thing we kind of, we get introduced to her because she's at the doctor's office where, hey, she learns she's dying.
Mm-hmm.
She's got like maybe weeks or months, and we see her being loaded into an MRI machine.
Yep.
And which obviously neither one of us think fondly of.
Oh, no.
So, but...
I just watched that part.
Yeah.
I just turned my head away.
So I figured. I was kind of thinking about you at that moment.
It's coming up time for me to have another one, so...
yeah, I get you. I know you don't like them, so...
Yep. I have to have one a year.
So, interestingly, she goes to Central Park later, Alexandra does. She meets with, guess who?
Madame Gao.
Madame Gao. And they discuss this final phase of whatever the plan they're cooking up.
Mm-hmm.
But something really interesting going on here is Madame Gao, who we've seen throughout Daredevil and Iron Fist as being, oh, I'm Miss Enigmatic, I'm the one in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly she's the subordinate here.
Yep. Not so in charge.
Yeah, and apparently Alexandra, probably because she's dying, says, "Hey, I want you to speed things up a little." And Madame Gao is like, "I don't think that's a good idea." Alexandra's like, "No, you're going to speed things up."
No, I do think it's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea. And oh, by the way, why don't you feed these birds that I'm feeding here in Central Park?
And hands are
The bag. So
Oh.
it's just like, okay, I guess I'm feeding birds now.
Yeah. So the question is,
Yeah.
we know that Alexandra's dying, but how old is she? If
Yes.
she is Madame Gao's superior.
That's true. And like, because, all right, the hand, obviously being from Asia, what is this gaijin, this foreigner, doing in charge of the hand?
Well, she might not be Asian, but that doesn't mean she's American.
Well, I get that, but still, she's a foreigner,
Mm-hmm.
presumably.
A foreigner to Asia, but that doesn't mean she's.
But somehow she's in charge of this ninja clan.
Yeah, she might be Eurasian.
Yeah.
From Russia.
So obviously she's more than she appears.
Well, Russia's part of Asia.
That's just true, but still.
Yeah.
When someone says Asian, you mean like...
I know. She's not from the Far East. We'll put it that way.
There you go.
Yeah, she's atypical for being part of the hand.
Yeah, so it's someone you wouldn't expect being in charge of the hand. Let's just put it that way.
Correct.
And then with Sigourney Weaver, she's this big, tall woman.
Mm-hmm.
So she's obviously has presence.
Madame Gao talking. It's so intimidating looking.
Yeah.
And to see her, Madame Gao, look cowed.
Yeah, which is like, yeah, that was something that really surprised me.
Me too.
So
I would have never
saw that coming.
No. And then right at the end of the episode, I feel the earth move under my feet.
Yep.
An earthquake happening.
There's a whole lot of shaking going on.
I was going to use one or both of those right at the end of the thing. So there's a bit of an earthquake that happens at the end of the episode.
Or is it an earthquake?
Well...
Yeah, it has the effects of an earthquake. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
End that episode, yeah.
So just as like Colleen and Danny fly in by helicopter, and Matt arrives home. There's an earthquake going on that obviously all of our four heroes experience.
Right, and we get a little perspective from each of them on it.
Yeah, we see Luke saving a woman from a falling streetlight. So he's all like, "Oh yeah." So
Mr. Superhero. Yeah, and we see him doing a couple other little things, right?
Oh, well, one thing we should point out is when back in the scene when Misty knocks on the door and finds Luke with Claire. At first he's shirtless, and then he puts on a shirt. What shirt does he put on? A big yellow shirt.
Does he?
Yes. So like a big old yellow Power Man shirt.
Nice.
But it's just a yellow T-shirt.
I like it.
But
so that was part of the yellow imagery.
Again it's more yellow imagery, but it's his that's his color, that yellow shirt. So it was great to see Luke wearing that yellow T-shirt.
Excellent.
And he looks good in it too. So looks more like Luke Cage in it.
Good in anything. I'm sorry, but he does.
Oh, does he now?
Sure.
I see where you're going.
All three of those guys look good.
All right. Okay, so anything else about this episode?
Not that I can remember.
Okay. What's your rating?
And I thought this was a little slow and not a lot of action.
Well,
and
it's all set up.
It's a setup,
It's a setup episode.
It's not bad. I gave it 7.5 flip tables.
Right. It was the flip tables for...
Them breaking the table.
Oh, yeah. And got it.
This.
And Luke and Claire's. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Gotcha.
I had to mention that.
So I give it 8 bags of birdseed.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Defenders 102, Mean Right Hook.
Yep. Last show we're going to talk about this week. Written by Lauren Schmidt-Histrick, and a new writer, and Marco Ramirez. Directed once again by S.J. Clarkson. And as Karen yawns because we've been at this for like almost 2 hours.
I ran out of coffee a few hours ago, and I should have made more. Okay.
All right. A, B, and C.
Story. Alexandra's fault. Get it?
Yep. Get it.
Okay.
I got it.
Reunions and fisticuffs.
Okay.
And Nick Stick, because he is the Nick.
No, Stick gets nicked.
And he is the Nick Fury of.
Oh, okay. That's where you were coming from. I know Nick as a British term for being taken.
Stolen.
Yeah.
So he's both, but he's kind of the Nick Fury of the Netflix Marvel. So Nick Stick.
Kind of. I was thinking, actually, Claire is the Nick Fury of the...
He's the one that gets them together as a team.
Okay. Claire's more like the Coulson. Phil Coulson.
Yeah, actually, I would think of him more as the chick. The one from the...
Yeah, but I mean, my point is that Coulson shows up in all the Marvel movies.
Right.
So...
Well, so does the...
Nick Fury?
No, the girl.
Oh.
The one from How I Met Your Mother.
Maria Hill.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Ever.
Maria Hill.
Colby Smothers.
Well, yeah, that's the actress's name, Colby Smothers. Okay. But the character's name is Maria Hill.
Okay. I would call her more like that, but yeah, Coulson too.
Okay.
A cross between the two.
Got it. Okay.
Kind of the glue that keeps them together, but yeah. I think he's kind of Nick Fury in that he's bringing them together in this episode. He's starting that. He brings them together in the next episode. I'll tell you that much.
Okay, spoilers.
Come on.
Sorry, I'm just kidding.
You knew it was going to happen.
I knew it was going to happen. I was hoping it was going to happen. All right, so those are us A, B, and C. Alexandra's fault. So we kind of pick up where we left off in the aftermath of that what appeared to be an earthquake.
Right.
Matt's all doing the sort of Daredevil thing, perched on a building, but he's still in his street clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And he hears the sound of a gun, and it sounds like it's a looting going on. Mm-hmm. So he goes to beat up the robbers, but then he also beats up the trigger-happy store owner.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy asks him who he is, and he just walks off.
Right.
So Trish, meanwhile, goes to try to get in touch with Jessica, sees her car buried in the street.
Right. Jessica can't help her with that one.
Yeah, so she helped her out with, well, actually she could. She could probably lift it out of there, I'm guessing, but...
Yeah, but I don't think she could fix it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, like, she's on her radio show, and the caller's calling in that worried about, like, okay, this is connected to the incident because we can't say the Chitauri for some reason.
Right.
And so Trish is talking about it, but her call gets cut off, and because her bosses there at the station say, oh, it wasn't an earthquake.
Right. We can't say it.
So what's up with that?
We can't say earthquake.
Yeah. So,
you can't say Sue. You can't say earthquake. You can't say our fault. You can't say...
Exactly. So, what else? We pick up with Misty, who's gets filled in on these explosives that Jessica found in the previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
And while looking for this guy, and I guess she kind of gets a introduction to Jessica because Jessica's there being questioned briefly before she leaves,
and takes some
evidence, yeah, which obviously
distracting them with her bad line.
Yeah, and Misty's all like, "Oh hell no," and goes after her, but Jessica flies down the stairs.
Yep, she knows how to get away.
So Colleen is checking on her dojo, and it's okay. And Colleen thinks that the dead guy in Cambodia was a sign that, hey, we've got some allies fighting the hand.
Right.
And Danny's all like, well, it's my fight.
Kind of is.
Yeah. because he feels responsible. He's actually having some nightmares, as it turns out. As we saw on the plane, he's feeling guilty.
Yeah.
About those monks, the Kunlun monks being killed.
Sure.
Because of everything Davos was telling him.
Right.
That, hey, you left your responsibility. So Kali's got a lead on the guy's sword because it's a very rare sword, and so they're going to go check that out. And then Matt's still brooding, but so he goes to unlock the chest with his Daredevil gear. That temptation seeping in.
That's right.
And he opens it up, but then he suddenly gets a call from Foggy, and he closes the trunk lid. So close.
Right. And Foggy, of course, is going to call him out.
Yep.
Noticing the telltale signs of him getting in a fight.
Yeah, because he's got bloody knuckles.
Yep. You've been at it again.
Yeah, but he says, I know you've been trying. So he gives him the benefit of the doubt.
Right, and he actually says, I can help you.
Well, Matt says, hey, I had to do it because the cops weren't coming.
Right.
But Foggy actually knows that Matt's trying to quit being Daredevil, which is probably why they're still talking.
Right.
Yeah. So at least he feels that Matt's trying.
Mm-hmm.
Luke in Harlem, he's clearing away the debris.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's very public about his powers, and he tells Claire about what Misty told him, and she points him toward a bar called Trouble in Paradise.
Right.
So then we catch up with Alexandra. Speaking of Alexandra's fault,
that's right.
Alexandra is listening to she's got live musicians.
Has her own private concerto.
Because, hey, she's white privileged chick.
Right. All the city is recovering from all this devastation.
Yeah. She's just chilling out to classical music.
Yep.
And Madame Gao shows up, who again is very nervous around her.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
she doesn't like this plan.
No, she's not, and maybe she's worried about upsetting Alexandria, because she tells her that there's an actual literal wall blocking their progress on whatever they're doing, and Madame Gao's maybe we should come up with another plan. Alexandra says, hey,
nope.
If they could have just destroyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So she figures, hey, the wall must be a door. Well, Gao says no, they've tried destroying it, but nothing happens.
Right, so, and we can draw into that they mean Kunlun.
Yeah, because Alexandra says, okay, well, it must be actually a door, and that the elders of Kunlun valued one thing above all else. Well, guess who that is probably? Iron Fist.
That's right, Iron Fist.
Iron Fist. So, let's see. So we go back to that talk that Matt and Foggy were having. Foggy wants a Karen update, and because he kind of wants to know if they're getting back together. I think.
Although Foggy doesn't really deserve that update.
Yeah, exactly. So, but he ends up offering Matt some work to keep his mind off being Daredevil.
Yep.
So he'd like to avoid that temptation. Hey, I'm going to keep you busy.
Right.
So you're not tempted. So let's see what else.
I found that a little condescending. Did you?
A little bit, but remember, Foggy's coming from this. I think he feels Matt's addicted to being Daredevil.
Right. And he doesn't want him to get hurt.
So he's almost he's treating it hey, I don't want you to go back using drugs, so here's something to keep you busy.
Right. I felt like it was I have this really great practice now, so I'll throw you a couple crumbs.
A little bit, but I think I think he figures, maybe from his point of view, he's doing the right thing.
Yeah, I think he is. And I think he has the best of intentions.
Yeah.
It just grated on me a little bit. And I love Foggy. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing against Foggy at all. I love him. just right now, he's kind of grating on me. He's the man.
Yeah,
right
he's the man right now.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe he's just, he still seems concerned about Matt.
Of course.
So.
And that's the best part of him.
Yeah. So he's not giving up on Matt entirely, even though he was been tempted and has like reason to.
Yep.
Because Matt's lied to him so much.
He's
so
utterly loyal to Matt, which is good.
Yeah, which is good. So he's not totally giving up on Matt.
Right.
Let's see. So we had Jessica, I guess, running into Hogarth.
Right.
And Hogarth warns her that, hey, you stumbled into something big because the feds are involved.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that?
Right.
So Luke ends up going to the bar that Claire told him about.
Yeah.
And there, guess who's there? Turk Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
This, everybody's favorite snitch.
That's right.
And so he ends up telling Luke, of course, after Luke, punches a beer keg next to him.
Right.
It sprays him with beer,
awesome.
Which was great. So,
Donkey Kong.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that imitation. Yeah. And Turk was Mario. Turk was Super Mario. That went...
You like my Donkey Kong impression?
Yes, I love it. It's the best ever.
All right. It's not many people do a Donkey Kong impression.
No, it's so good.
Okay. So I'd be better if I wasn't congested, but hey.
And he finds a guy named
Whitehead.
Star. No, I mean.
Yeah, it's Hair Star.
No, a guy named Whitehead, which is gross.
Mr. Cage, we have matters to discuss after I indulge in this rape fantasy.
And Luke would be quite happy to
exactly.
introduce him to some of his prison pals.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. So Whitehead. Of all the people you're named after, a zit.
I would never accept that as my...
That's the worst sobriquet ever.
Yeah, so bad.
That's the worst name ever.
And of course, wearing white.
Yeah, you couldn't just call me Mr. White? No.
But not that. Why would you wear white to be a criminal? Why?
Well, because you don't care. You want to stand out. You're trying to get attention.
Especially at night, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's bold. It makes a statement. You don't care.
I guess.
So, yeah. So apparently, Turk tells Luke where he could find the Whitehead.
Right.
Worst name ever.
And where does he go? He goes to find him, and he sees Cole there amongst his thugs. Right?
Cole?
We're going to Jessica next.
Well, I was just trying to figure out who Cole was.
The boy.
Oh, okay. I didn't know the kid's name. That's right. Okay. Let's see where I was going to go.
I'm sorry.
I was going to go to Danny and Colleen next, but that's okay.
Okay. No, we can go to Danny and Colleen.
Yeah, I was going to go to because we keep switching. It's kind of hard to do one big
It goes back and forth, but it's because trying to weave everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Until they start getting together.
Right.
It's going to be a little disjointed. So, yeah, Danny and Colleen go to that swordsmith's place.
Right.
And she finds the sword, and apparently you don't sharpen it unless you're going to use it.
Right.
So, they go to a side room. There's, all these dead bodies, presumably cut down by the hand.
Right.
And Danny on the wall sees a scroll with a picture of Kunlun.
Right.
So it's that's Kunlun. Yep, surprise. Then Luke finds that guy, the Whitehead guy, and calls Misty and says, "You better get a warrant."
Right.
And she's like, "Where are you? What's going on?" And don't do anything. And he's like, "I got things to do. Bye."
Right. And just as he hangs up, he sees Cole, and he says, "I gotta handle this."
Right.
And he goes to handle it.
Yep. So we go back to Foggy, who gets a new assignment from his boss, Hogarth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all off the record, of course.
Of course.
And Foggy's basically says...
Hogarth is shady AF.
What?
Because Hogarth is shady AF.
That's true, because, hey, she almost killed... Or actually, she did kill somebody in Jessica Jones.
That's right.
So, yeah, that's true. You're right.
AF.
Yep. So even though she helped Danny get his fortune back, she's still up to shady stuff, probably. Shady AF, yes. As F. So, but yeah, she's, Foggy, Hogarth tells Foggy to keep Jessica Jones away from the firm, as far away as possible, even though it's just a matter of time.
Right. Because,
hey, it's Jessica.
And Jessica is a walking time bomb.
Basically, yeah. So, so speaking of Jessica, back at her office, she finds her office door open, and the guy she was hunting, John Raymond, has Malcolm at gunpoint.
Right. She's hunting him.
Yeah.
And he falls into her lap. It's like her worst nightmare.
Pretty much.
She tries to avoid taking this case in the first place.
Yeah, she doesn't want to deal with it, but then she gets pressured into it.
And then he shows up at her house with this guy that she doesn't want as her assistant held at gunpoint.
Yeah, pretty much. So
she just hates everything right now.
So basically this guy Raymond, he wants to know what Jessica wants to work, or if Jessica works with them. And goes on about how they want to take down the city. But then, at that moment, some woman with a sword shows up.
Electra.
Yes. Boy, that cough is contagious.
I know it is.
So she's all hacky slashy. And then Raymond is like, okay, I'm out of here. Shoots himself in the head rather than hand himself over.
That's right.
Takes himself out. And Jessica obviously is more pissed off than usual.
Right, and they're pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, they fight for a bit, then Electra takes off.
Right, it's Electra. We can
talk about it because she's revealed later at the end of the episode anyway. Yeah. I think so. Electra takes off. Jessica's surprised about how fast Electra moves. And Electra ditches her. But hey, just as Jessica goes outside, who shows up?
Hi, Misty.
Yeah.
Whoops. Hey, what about that
put
evidence?
Put your hands above your head. That's
right. You stole some evidence. Yep. I'm not happy.
Yeah, she's not happy at all. So
right.
Do we want to keep going with Jessica, or do we want to go back to other stuff?
No, let's go back to Cole is sent to destroy this building with the Kunlun banner.
Right.
And this is where Danny and Colleen are.
Yep.
And then Luke shows up because he's following him, thus starting the funniest fight ever in the history of Marvel.
Yeah, we need to run this down. Okay, so Luke shows up just as Danny's about to pulverize Cole.
Right.
And Luke throws him into a fence. And, this fight is pretty one-sided at first.
Right. And
so Danny starts punching and kicking him. And because, hey, Luke, he's invulnerable, doesn't faze him at all. He just stands there and he's looking down at it really? That's all you got is all punchy kicky?
Not just that, but Luke is out. I mean, everyone knows who Luke Cage is, so he doesn't understand why.
Yeah, but Danny apparently doesn't know who he is.
Why Danny doesn't know this, right? Yeah. Danny, of course, came back while Luke was in prison.
So basically, Luke's just kind of punching and throwing him around, toying with him, really. Right. And he's being really cocky about it until...
Give up yet?
Yeah. Until Danny focuses for a moment, focuses his chi. Well, guess what that means? here comes the Iron Fist, and
That's right.
boom!
That's right. You see his jaw move.
It's slow
and blood
move. Luke's
and-
jaw goes sideways,
Yep.
and it's like, boosh.
Luke is
Oh.
very nice.
Yeah, it is like, ow.
This is the point where the cops show up and they
Yep.
take Cole into custody. Luke goes one way,
Yep.
and Colleen and Danny go the other way.
Right. But Luke's just like, okay, what just hit me?
Right.
Did somebody get the license plate number of that fist?
Right. So now they're aware of each other, and Luke knows that there's someone.
We need to mention though, this is like the meeting of Power Man and Iron Fist. This is a big deal. We finally get these two characters together.
It's the immovable object and the irresistible force.
Yes.
At this point.
And this time, the irresistible force won.
Kind of. I mean, he's still standing, so.
I think Danny won that fight.
Do you think? I think it was a draw. I mean.
Well,
way.
Luke was sent reeling, and that's where we ended. So.
Sent reeling.
He was sent reeling.
I think it was kind of a, wow, who is that guy?
Yeah.
At the end of that fight. I think if it had continued, Danny might have won because Luke was taken completely off guard.
Yeah, exactly. If he had followed that up, let's just put it that way.
But as of right now, it was broken up, so it was kind of a, wow, I got to regroup sort of thing.
Pretty much.
So yeah, it was interesting.
So then we, and this kind of leads to our C story, Nick Stick.
Right.
Where we have Matt Murdock's mentor, Stick. So we get the return.
Not Nick.
Yeah.
Stick. Nick Stick.
Nick Stick.
You kind of shoved it together and it didn't.
Well, I'm congested. Nick Stick.
Yeah.
You're the one who wrote it that way.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I wrote Nick Stick. Two different words.
Nick Stick.
Not Nick
Got
Stick.
it.
No. No, I don't want to see Nick's thing.
I haven't said anything about Nick's thing.
Okay.
I'm just reading what's there. Nick Stick.
So let's talk about Stick. Let's talk about Stick.
You're the one who set it up. So.
Stop it.
All right. So we see Matt Murdock's mentor, Stick.
That's right.
Captured, and this is where he names Alexandra. So apparently, Stick knows Alexandra.
Yep.
And she tells Stick, hey, we've got a lot to discuss, but we're not going to tell you right now.
The Chaste is one of the Hand's opponents.
Yes.
So.
Makes sense. They would know each other.
If she's part of the Hand and he's part of the Chaste.
Right. And then lastly, we're left with, we go back to the police station where Misty has Jessica in the interrogation room.
Mm-hmm.
And Misty wants answers, but all Jessica will say is, Misty is walking into some weird-ass shit.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, guess who shows up? Matt Murdock.
I'm your lawyer.
Yep. I'm Jessica Jones' attorney.
That's right. So is this the case that he was given under the table? Is this the case? Because we want to keep Jessica out of the way.
That's a good question. But
I know chronologically in the show it doesn't look like the case, but I think it might have been the case. Because she doesn't want...
Yeah, that's the thing, because Matt gets fed cases by Foggy first.
But I think Misty knew she wanted to arrest Jessica already because Jessica had taken the evidence already.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know how Matt found out that Jessica was there. So.
No, but I do think that maybe they were planning on bringing Jessica in already.
Yeah. Unless there's like a Matt. We find out later that, hey, Foggy called. Well, you've seen the episode, so you have to tell me, I guess.
I don't know that at all.
Okay.
I'm just thinking that Misty already knew that she had a warrant for Jessica's arrest.
Yeah.
And that Jerry wanted to keep Jessica out of the way. So whenever Jessica got arrested, she had made it so Matt would take it.
Okay.
I mean, that was my perspective, at least. So yeah, that was the end of the episode where Matt walks in. And so we have Luke meets Danny in an interesting way.
Right.
Jessica meets Matt at the end of the episode. So we have those two crossovers. And we know Jessica has already met Luke, and Matt has already met... Has Matt met anyone else?
No.
No.
No. Not yet.
And Luke hasn't met anyone else.
Nope. Although now he's met Iron Fist, but that's it. So, yeah. All right. So, what's your rating for this one?
My rating is 8 gas mask gangs. And I say that, I was going to give it an 8.5, but I've seen the next episode, so I pulled back a little bit and I gave it
so next episode must be better.
super good.
Okay. Well, I gave this episode 8.5, and you seem to like my rating.
Yeah. Because her door.
Yeah, so I give it 8.5 still unrepaired doors.
Because she just doesn't give a F.
Pretty much. Let's see.
She doesn't
Let's
care
see.
about anything.
Drinking myself into oblivion, fixing the door. I'm going to go with drinking myself into oblivion.
Yep, drinking always wins.
Yep.
Drinking always wins.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so good. She just, everything, her whole apartment looks exactly the same.
There's still holes from the fight from Jessica Jones.
And everything is all over the floor still.
Yeah.
I mean, her phone is off.
And we know that there's been some time.
Yeah, she just doesn't care.
Doesn't care, apparently.
If there's something cleared off so that she can put a glass up to put her booze in, then she's all good.
Yeah. All right, so that's that. Do we have any Justina feedback?
Do.
All right, let's hear it.
No. There's 2, but they're back to back.
Okay.
And long.
Hi, Karen and Charles. Another exciting week of Wynonna Earp. This episode was like the stuff of nightmares. A creepy painting that changes throughout the episode, a guy with a tail, a very, very incredibly creepy doll thing.
Right.
But still, I enjoyed Doc's confession of love to Wynonna and continue to wonder what breaking the third seal might mean for Doc. Will he age rapidly and die quickly? Will his tuberculosis return and cause him to suffer slowly? Will he be able to live a regular length life with Wynonna? I think we're going to find out, because I think that ring just has to be destroyed. I don't think there's any way around it. Wynonna's going to be desperate to break the curse before her child is forced to deal with it as well. I loved the sparring scenes and the adorable baby high five. What in the world was Wynonna making for dinner anyway? Officer down, officer captured, officer in the presence of a widow. Is there a code for that? I don't know the code for that. Oh, for heaven's sakes, I don't know. Just somebody save Officer Hot. Save Nicole, okay? That's all I ask. This episode gets 9 out of 10 decorative throw pillows. Don't shoot the pillows. I will never find this color combination again. Fun comic book fact of the day. To see Spider-Man Homecoming this week. And guess the Jarvis-like computer inside Spider-Man's new suit that Tony Stark made him? Her name is Karen. I thought that was extra awesome. Have a super week. Hi, Karen and Charles. Thank goodness Officer Hot is saved. But if only Waverly had had more faith in Wynonna. Wynonna was nearly there. She had the cure. If only she would have called her or something. Then maybe she wouldn't have given the third seal to Widow Beth. Last season we defeated the Stone Witch. Now we have the Iron Witch to worry about? Oh my goodness, there's always something in purgatory. I really liked the team standing up for Rosita when Wynonna decided she was somewhat disposable because she's a remnant and can't die anyway, so we might as well use her for testing of the venom. I'm glad someone pointed out that even though she couldn't die of the venom, she could still suffer of the venom. And I love that Rosita is a good revenant, saying that she would have just helped if Wynonna would have just asked. She didn't have to threaten her. She would have helped willingly because she's loyal to this team. What? Officer Hot was married? That came out of left field. I didn't see that one coming. Oh no, Doc is back in the well with no ring at all. And Wynonna. Where in the world is Wynonna? I'm so glad we're getting more episodes this season than we did last year. I'm very glad that this was not our finale episode. This episode gets 9 out of 10 cats named Calamity Jane. Have a super week.
You too.
Thank you, Justina. Yeah.
And
I'm glad about Rosita being a good revenant, too, so I hope they keep her around.
Me too.
I like her.
He had a ring down in the well, yeah?
No, he did. Oh, I don't. Yeah, I think he. No, I don't know if he did or not. I'll have to go back and look.
I think he would have to have it down there.
Yeah, maybe.
Because Wynonna didn't exist, so she wouldn't have taken it.
That's true. So she probably does. He probably does.
He might.
He probably does.
We'll find out.
He probably does. Let's go with that. All right. So thank you, Justina, as always.
Of course.
For your great feedback.
How can you give us feedback?
Yeah, if you want to be like Justina, and you can send us your feedback audio form if you want, but you could do that. If you want to do that, you could reach us at fandomzonecast@gmail.com.
That is right.
So you can do that there. Or if you just want to shoot us, just write us an email, you can do that too. We'd love to hear from you. We'll read your email right here on the podcast.
That's right.
Or you can reach us at Fandom Zone Cast on the Twitter machine.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can reach us at our Facebook page, the Fandom Zone Podcast, coincidentally enough. Which we would definitely appreciate the likes on that. Okay. We may be merging that with the Dangerous Habits page.
Rob said he was going to do that.
Rob said he was going to do that, but that was a week ago, and he still.
That's right. It was supposed to be Fandom Zone Friday.
Yeah, what happened to Fandom Zone Friday, Rob? If you're hearing this, just wondering.
And you can listen and subscribe to us in Apple Podcasts.
But I do like the name Phantom Zone Friday. So
I think every Friday should be
every Friday should be Phantom Zone Friday. So
every day is Phantom Zone.
Hashtag Phantom Zone Friday. Let's put it that way. Or you can reach us. You can find us if you're not already. You can please subscribe to us on iTunes and rate us so people can find us. We would definitely appreciate that as well.
Now.
Or Apple Podcast, but okay.
And leave us a review, please.
Yeah.
And
I know that you can find our podcast using iTunes.
There you go.
So there.
And I am at Aliveria and at Ali's_stuff on the Twitter machine. And in my bio at both places, you can find the link to my blog, at which you can find all my other links. And you are?
Obviously at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter machine, at Charles Skaggs on the Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Google Plus for all you crazy kids on the Google Plus. And Facebook, of course. And my blog of geeky things.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Damn good coffee. And hot. Where I talk about Twin Peaks. Phantom Zone. Obviously. Or in all the comic book shows that we cover here on the Phantom Zone podcast. And my other two podcasts. Next Up Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast that I do with Jesse Jackson, friend of the show. And Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast that I do with Zan Sprouse. And we're getting close to the finale of Twin Peaks here, which will be while I'm away on vacation. Yes. So I'm going to miss the final 3 episodes while I'm on vacation because the final 2 episodes are airing back to back while I'm on vacation.
Oh, that sucks worse.
Yeah, but I've got Showtime Anytime on my iPad, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to stream them. So fingers crossed.
Good.
But just in case I'm DVRing, let's just put it that way, so I can at least watch it when I get back. So, so obviously my vacation is going to screw up the schedule. So apologies in advance. That's on me. I will own that. So sorry about that.
I screw it up enough.
But apparently it's my turn to screw things up. So.
Yeah. And I wanted to let you guys know I'm becoming a little more active on the Instagrams.
Yay.
I am Aliveria there as well, Aleveria.
Please follow her.
A lot of my blog posts are going up there, but I'm also making these author quote posts that are supposedly artsy and stuff, and I'm getting quite a few likes on those. So
that's cool.
If you're interested at all in my I'm trying to make them timely. I made one about courage and diversity.
Oh, very cool.
Angelou quote.
Very nice.
So I put that one up today. And
we could definitely use more of that these days.
Right. So I've been doing things like that. I did a Stephen King quote and a Bill Waterston quote.
Very uplifting.
And things like that. Yes. So I'm doing things like that.
That's awesome.
Putting them on my Instagrams.
Yeah, please go follow her, please.
Yeah, and there is a Fandom Zone link on there as well. I mean, there's a post on there. Oh. I mean to do those more often, but I haven't. So I will.
That's awesome. All right. So yeah, we're gonna. It's gonna be a few weeks before we get to record.
Yep.
But
we will be back.
We will be back, and we'll be back with another big episode.
More Wynonna Earp.
Because hey, we got to catch up on Preacher, Wynonna Earp, and the Defenders.
Correct.
So yeah, we're gonna do 3 and 4 of the Defenders plus the next 2.
Wynonna Earps's and
Preacher's. So
yeah. Just like this one.
Yeah, just like this one, only a little in a couple weeks.
Only 2 more down the road.
So stay tuned, and I guess we'll see you when I get back. And thanks for coming back in advance. We'd love to hear from you. So you have plenty of time to drop us a line.
That's right. Call.
No excuses.
Right. Tell him how awful he is. All right.
Yeah.
Actually, just tell him how awesome his Donkey Kong impression is, because I do impressions of people. People tell me all the time, but man, that is the best Donkey Kong impression I have ever heard. All right, Helena says. Oh, I'll see you all later.
Bye everyone.
Wow. 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 Wow.